Yo, what is up? The Sports Bag Bros podcast is back at you from the remote area, at least half of the session. So, we're here again for the sports that's been going on for over the weekend. Right now, there's so much to talk about. The NCAA tournament. We all know what that means. The big dance is finally about to start on Thursday officially. We know playing games do exist with the expanded format, especially. But on Thursday is when it's really going to start popping. But before that, you already know what the deal is when it comes down to the NFL. This free agency, this is all about, well, nothing is going to be what it once was the previous season. Too many major moves so far.
Yeah, but let's let the audience know you don't have a microphone because you're out of the country.
Of course, exactly. out of the country, over in Thailand, over in Bangkok, a 13-hour difference from the Eastern time zone, 12 hours away from where you're at in Chicagoland area, up in the Indiana area. So, yeah, there's been a little bit of shift in. 5 a.m. over here, 5 p.m. where you are. Anywhere else on the East Coast, well, that would be 6 p.m., which would be our normal time, or around that area, make it. But
as far as the NFL free agency, I don't think a lot of people are talking about it. Them raising the salary cap has a lot to do with it, because going into the off season, when after the Super Bowl, there maybe were a handful of teams who had cap space, and it turns out everybody has cap space.
Yeah, everybody, and the ones who had some have a lot. Those who had just a tiny bit, well, they have enough to make something matter when they do make their moves. So that's a big deal. Now we're seeing moves. I think this is probably one of the biggest free agent periods that I can remember where there are so many moves, not even of named players, because it's a little bit kind of skewed when it comes to named players. You can have Russell Wilson, which is a named player, but not exactly effective over the past couple of years. But still, in the right situation, like he may be now in Pittsburgh, that may turn back the clock.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, we got to mention it. Justin Fields traded for a 6th-round conditional pick. Basically nothing. Lets you know what most of the league thought of Justin Fields. Nobody needed him, but the Steelers said, well, we'll give you such and such. And Ryan Poles accepted it because obviously he wasn't getting a dynamite deal from any other teams. There's also talk that he did right by Justin, that there were better offers. But you have to believe if they were getting offered a 2nd or a 3rd round, doing right by Justin would go by the wayside. Be like, sorry, Justin, I want to, but your choice is only giving up a 6th, and I got a 2nd. I got to do what's best for the Bears. So what were they getting? A 5th? A 4th? Who knows? So they had to do it. I said I'm done with him. It was going to be a difficult quarterback room for Caleb Williams with Justin Fields still around. But the funny thing is, if you remember, I said a couple of weeks ago, the Bears should have signed Russell Wilson, kept Justin Fields so he could learn under Russell Wilson. And that's exactly what the Steelers are going to do. So should I be a GM in the NFL?
Hey, the way these moves are going on, there's enough salary cap space to even make mistakes if it becomes a mistake. So you can overcome your own mistakes. But from all the information I can at least gather from over 7,000 miles away, as far as even this deal goes, it says now, the latest thing I've read, well, I don't know if it would be late for me or late for everybody over there.
You're in the future. You're in the future.
Yeah, I got the future. It's already Tuesday over here, man. Let me tell you something. Let's start gambling, get some money. But with Justin Fields, they said he turned down, so he had right of refusal. I don't know too many rookie contracts with a no trade clause. I don't know if that was the case, but It said that he turned down a number of these teams, and they wanted to do right by him by at least giving him an option. I guess if a blockbuster came along, they would have sent them to wherever they could get that blockbuster. But I guess when it just came out to just get something to save face, you know what? Let this guy decide where he wants to go. It makes a nice story when everything kind of pans out. And it's not just on the team, and it makes it seem as if they are trying to put him in a better position. So, yeah, it looks like he had a lot to do with why it had taken so long. But I also think a lot of what you just said makes a lot of sense. There wasn't a lot going after him anyways, especially with this much money in free agency. You could go after even other quarterbacks. If Kirk Cousins is leading the way, there are other quarterbacks you can go after to try to fill the gap.
Right. Supposedly there were 3 or 4 other teams interested. I don't know about offers, but again, there wasn't anything that knocked the Bears' socks off, or they would have done it. So, but Justin did not have right of refusal. There's talk that he gave the Bears a list of teams, and they tried to honor that. Pittsburgh was one of them. And it could be Ryan Poles is trying to earn goodwill, with players around the league. Hey, look, I said I wanted to do right by Justin, and I did right by Justin. Come play for me.
Now, as far as that conditional pick you were talking about, a 6th round conditional pick, here it comes down to if Justin Fields, the one condition is he has to play at least 50% of the snaps. That means this can turn out what you do without nothing.
51 he has to play the majority.
Yeah, exactly. 51% of the playing time, he needs that in order for them to get the condition, I think, moved up to a 4th rounder, right? I believe.
Correct.
And so if that is the case, the writing's on the wall that they're really relying, or at least they kind of really, I don't know if the Bears or the Steelers are relying on Russ to get hurt, and they're expecting the young guy to come in, because even right now, the way Justin Fields has been playing on and off again, if you get a veteran quarterback on a veteran team, not that mess that was in Denver like Russ Wilson was in, he comes to Pittsburgh, which is, hey, they were winning without him. You know what I mean? They got to the playoffs without him. So if he gets there and he just pretty much even manages the game properly, which we know he can do, man, they're going to move further ahead of Justin's not going to get on the field, and that condition won't be met. So it will be probably and likely a 6th rounder outside of injury.
Right. Early indications are that it is Russ's job.
Yeah.
That it's not even a competition. So the Steelers, being a playoff team, if they're winning, they have no reason to go to Justin. I'm sure they'll have packages for him, give defenses a different look, maybe bring him in on 3rd and short to run an RPO or something.
Yeah.
But he's not going to play 51% of the time unless Russ gets injured. Or unless Russ is trash too.
Yeah, and that's true.
But
that's true.
Can he play worse than Pickett?
Exactly. That's why Pickett's now in Philadelphia. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers gave up on him pretty quick. I was surprised, kind of sort of disappointed, because I was one of those guys. I know people said that Kenneth Pickett coming out might have been a kind of middle of the pack pick. I thought he went into the right system. I kind of was comparing him to Big Ben a little bit without the running, but he was able to read. I watched him a lot in college. He kind of sat back there. He was the big difference between winning and losing on a number of occasions. But now he's in Philadelphia. He's behind Jalen Hurts. Now, didn't Mariota also sign a contract, a 1-year contract with Philadelphia? So now you have Hurts, Mariota, and Kenny Pickett.
I saw he signed. I don't remember it being Philly though, but you could be right. I'm not sure.
Because Mariota was with Philly, so I thought it was a 1-year deal. And these days, with the 1-year deal, you can kind of seem like you're either going to stay with the same team, because when you move to another team, they usually give you a little bit more, unless you're Chase Young.
That wouldn't make much sense though if you sign Mariota and then trade for Kenny Pickett. So I think he signed somewhere else. I'm not sure where.
Okay, but I just had to check.
While you were talking, made me think, if they weren't able to develop Pickett, what makes people think they can develop Fields? Like, Fields definitely isn't a finished product. People think he still has a ceiling, but he has to develop. If they couldn't develop Pickett, what makes you think they can develop Fields?
It may be the Lamar Jackson syndrome. He has a lot of the attributes Lamar Jackson had, with the exception of the explosive running ability that Lamar had in his early part of his career, because the explosiveness isn't there, but the threat to run is still real for him. So I think looking at that and knowing that they can, with the NFL being what it is now, they still have something there. I mean, because even Russ Wilson, he wasn't exactly a big runner, but he could still kill you with his legs in his prime. He's a much more cerebral quarterback now that reads the field and can read the field. Justin Fields, I think, just learning under him, I think I would like to believe that these guys know more than us most times, and that they had a reason for the madness in which they're doing now, taking Justin Fields. And you get a young guy like that, it's for the long term. And by the way, he is going into the last year of his contract, isn't he? Typically, those
Justin?
rookie contracts about 5 years. Justin Fields, and
Yeah,
it seems
he's
that
got
seems
one
to
more
be
deal before they got to give him a bag.
exactly one more year because I see a lot of these contracts coming up. Guys who have gotten traded, Calvin Ridley, one of those guys who have gotten traded with that 1 year remaining, wanted to be with the Jaguars. The only reason why he's in Tennessee is because he absolutely got blown out of the water by the offer and the money that was guaranteed. But Justin Fields, I can still see why they got him. I just want to see the progress. Now you're anxious, wondering if the new background, things change with him. I mean, you like that for any player or want to see that with any player. But I'm wondering now with the new scenario, new background, one of the flagship organizations in the NFL, where you really don't hear dissension, do those things happen now? The Pittsburgh fans can be forgiven, but they have expectations.
But thinking ahead to not this upcoming season, but the season after that, how do you decide if you're going to pay Justin if Russell Wilson plays 17 games?
And that's true. And I heard another story. I don't know if it even came into fruition or is that something they're still talking about. And that's Russell Wilson signing a long-term contract. At his age, it didn't make sense. But I just don't know.
What's long-term for him? 2 years?
2 years. That might be. They could do a little wordplay. They could say exactly the same thing. I thought you meant 5 years. You see his age is 2. Get out of here. But yeah, man, I guess because in that case, what was even the purpose of getting Justin unless they throw him out there, give a little leg, pull him back on the time that he does go out there, and then it raises his trade value again.
Like that's putting a lot of stock in practice. He looks good in practice.
Or the games. Even the games.
But I'm saying, well, he's not going to play all that much, though.
He's not going to play a lot.
You give him a package. You give him a package, and yeah, you're setting him up to succeed because the defense isn't ready for those packages. I mean, they might be after a couple games, but you can't run the same plays. You change up the concepts and everything. But he's going in he will be going in set up to succeed in that situation, right? Because it's a one play here, it's another play there, and you're expected to succeed. So they're giving you good plays. But other than that, how do you know that he can be QB1 for your offense? That's putting a lot of faith in practice time.
A lot of faith in practice, yeah, exactly. This isn't the Senior Bowl where practice really matters a whole damn lot, and the game is just incidental. They get to find out a lot about your inner structure, I guess, in the practices. So the games are kind of immaterial. In the Senior Bowl, in the NFL, you get a lot of practice time. You go to the film room, you can put everything on the chalkboard. But when you get out there on the field with everybody else who's not trying to be your friend, the other team, then you have all the issues. So now going back to the Chicago Bears for a minute, hey, they made moves at the wide receiver spot. I mean, real upgrades. Right. And that kind of led me to believe, okay, they got to be getting rid of Justin. Well, obviously they got rid of Justin. Now it opens the door up for Caleb Williams, who's looked at as the number 1 quarterback. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's not. But yeah, they've upgraded for a reason. Maybe the C.J. Stroud syndrome, a rookie coming in with some weapons and doing some work, or it could just be another quarterback.
So there's 2 ways to look at it, right? The Bears, they look like they could have a high potent offense now, high octane offense. You got DJ Moore on one side, Keenan Allen on the other side. They brought in Everett from San Diego. So you got 2 tight ends who are very capable. You get Swift in the backfield, and then you bring in the rookie quarterback. So you're setting him up to succeed. But in the event he does not succeed, who's getting the blame? The rookie quarterback. He's a generational talent.
Well, you know what? The rookie quarterback.
He's that. He's this. He's that. And you don't get the Bears to the playoffs, you're a failure. You are a failure.
Well, and it's crazy you can say that you don't get the Bears to the playoffs as a rookie quarterback, and I think it puts that much pressure on quarterbacks now, rookies.
But the whole world saying he's a generational talent.
And that's true. We've seen
you got all these weapons. Come on, Mr. Generational Talent.
Tim Couch was supposed to be a generational talent, man.
Let's go.
Come on, Tim Couch was supposed to be one too. Generational talent.
Well,
Number one
Hey,
pick overall usually is if
no,
it's a quarterback, a generational
think
talent.
about this. No number one pick quarterback has ever come into a better situation.
And that's
The
probably
Bears
that's
were the
probably true.
Bears were not the worst team in the league. They have the number 9 pick. They were a game away from making the playoffs.
That's
They
true.
only have this pick because of the trade last year with the Panthers.
With Bryce Young, yeah.
And then they added weapons to the team. No rookie quarterback, no number one pick. I shouldn't say rookie quarterback. No number one pick quarterback has ever come in to what will be a better situation than what the Bears currently have.
Well, as far as the Bears go, I think this takes one thing off the ledger, or possibly most likely. There won't be any Marvin Harrison Jr. sightings in Chicago. I mean, if you got the receiving
Man,
core.
I'm telling you, I might have to like March Madness is coming at the right time because I'll be all about basketball Thursday and Friday. I won't
Yeah.
be checking my phone for no updates, none of that. Because there's so many things going on out there. There's
Mm-hmm.
people tweeting the Bears could possibly draft JJ McCarthy. The
Oh,
Bears
I
could
heard,
the Bears
man.
could
Come on.
possibly package the number 9 and something else and move up if Marvin Harrison's still there at number 5. What? They only have 4 picks in the draft this year. What
They
picks
got to
do
hit
they
on
have
all
to
of
give
them.
up? Or who are they going to trade? Who do they have worth trading to
DJ
package
Moore, he's
with
good.
number 9? That's what I'm saying. You're building your team. You're not trying to subtract quality players. You know, they finally got some blue chippers. They're not getting rid of
Yeah,
those blue chippers. And who's going to want your trash so they can give up a better pick to move down to 9? Man,
that's
some
true.
of the stuff out there is just absolutely crazy.
But no, let's go to this JJ McCarthy thing for a second. You know, he's been my dude for the past 2 seasons. I watched him since he at Michigan, watching him develop. I thought he regressed a bit last season, even in the championship year. But man, what I don't think what I thought he'd be an NFL quarterback, but then I thought, you know what, there's still that slight chance he could be Julian Edelman, who played at Kent State, what a quarterback, ended up being a wide receiver, nice one at that. He had Tom Brady throwing to him. That's what I thought McCarthy was a bit of. When you watched him in this last national championship game against Washington, it wasn't like he took over the game as a passing quarterback. He just made the right decisions, and they weren't real risky decisions. You know, it's that the way he's played from what I've seen the past 2 seasons, that didn't indicate a top 5 pick. That didn't indicate a top 3 round pick. Probably 3 rounds and 3rd round.
I agree with you. And I think the biggest play he made against Washington, he did with his legs when they were
And that's
down by the
exactly what I
goal
was
line
saying.
on 3rd down. So,
Yeah.
as far as him being one of the top 2 or 3 passers available in the draft, I don't see it.
And it happens every year. There's always these players that just comes out of the woodwork, players that we know, players who are obscure, come out of the woodwork. I mean, Mitch Trubisky was one of them. I mentioned him a couple of times. But then there's always this one player. Remember the Mamula from years ago? He was a solid player at Boston College. Next thing you know, he destroyed the NFL Combine, ends up going in the top 10 to the NFL, to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's one of the biggest busts ever based on the things and measurables he brought. And it should have taught a lesson from way back then. Don't believe these numbers. Believe what you see on video. He is who we saw. And JJ McCarthy is who we saw. Not a first rounder, not a second rounder, probably a 3rd rounder. You're probably pushing it there. But in today's NFL, RPO, and all that, his athleticism does matter. But we've seen that kind of story so often.
Yeah, I don't want to use the word game manager, but he seemed more of a game manager than a guy out there slinging the ball over the place looking like a top 5 pick. But
now,
I mean, he did play well for most of the season and got his team to the chip. But
and that's true.
That
but
doesn't mean he should be the number 1 pick.
Man,
you think about Michigan's strengths, that offensive line, right?
Yep. Yeah. In that running game.
He didn't face too much adversity throughout the season. Can't really tell me that, oh, look what he did in this spot. Well, what, when they were up 17?
And I can't forget about what Kirk Herbstreit has been saying. He's a Big Ten guy, Ohio State guy. He's damn sure on top of his college football. And he was talking about the regression that had happened throughout the season. And I knew he wasn't saying it from a non-professional standpoint of, I'm an Ohio State alumnus, I'm going to talk nonsense about the Michigan player. He was saying
it's my duty to trash Michigan players.
The opportunity comes, he wants to do it. But I watched the games as well. I'm not acting like an expert, but I guess your eyeballs kind of tell you what they see. And from what I saw, there was obviously differences from what had happened last season when they did not win a championship to this past season when they did win a championship. The running game being as dominant as it was. Carlin played for the entire season as well. But to see how he played was consistent. And, God, if there ever were a game manager in college football, that's pretty much what he had done last season. The team was just that damn good overall. That's why, they had as much success as they had. And he was a part of that success as well. He was a part of that success as well. But as far as the NFL, they always tell you how big a step it is. Well, from game manager in college to NFL top 5 pick possibly, that just doesn't sound right at all.
Did you see the movie A Few Good Men?
No, I have not. I mean, everyone knows the one-liners in it, but I have not seen the movie.
When Jack Nicholson was being cross-examined, he said at one point, "This is funny. That's what this is. This is funny." That's what I think of all this draft talk, because you got people come out. Oh, I broke down the film, and I think Jaden Daniels he's the number one prospect, and then all kind of hate comes at him. Like,
yep.
Are people on Caleb Williams' payroll like to attack other players because they're getting some shine? And what the hell, man? People who lift Caleb Williams, it's just their opinion. They don't know for sure. You don't know for sure. I don't know for sure. Everything we're saying is just opinion. What makes your opinion better than the guy who says Jaden Daniels is number one? Better than his opinion.
Exactly. That's the truth.
It's funny, man.
It is funny. Everyone thinks their opinion is the best. And all the draft nicks with the little caps on with the propellers on top. They want to come and act like they got all the answers now, because now we don't have to worry about the 3-month-old magazine that you use on draft day. We got to worry about the computer where everything changes in live time. And you can kind of see how things are moving, and the other so-called experts or even real experts who aren't right 100% of the time, you try to jump on the best bandwagon, especially the one that agrees with you anyway, and that usually what happens around here. But getting back to the
even the experts, Mel Kiper Jr., they get it wrong. He's not 100% correct.
Oh, absolutely. You see him get it wrong. You put yourself out there, you're going to get it wrong if you put out there long enough. Mike Mayock, same deal. What is he doing for the freaking Raiders? You know what I mean? He's talking loud in front of the television cameras. He's the one who
he tried to apply his knowledge. It's not really working out.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's a different story when you actually are the GM, and then you have to make the decisions and things aren't going your way on the draft board. When it's time for you to pick, the guy you really wanted isn't going to be there. The second guy you wanted isn't going to be there. Yeah, but Mike Mayock, the one who made arm talent one of the words of the buzzword of the day. Now everyone calls arm talent. He's the guy. I mean, he has a team that's kind of perennially in the middle or at the bottom every year. Now, how long is it going to take for him to finally put something there? Well, we'll figure it out. But sticking with the free agency, now Chase Young leaves the 49ers after Eric Armstead had left the 49ers for the Jaguars. Chase Young traded last year to San Francisco. Now from San Francisco, because of that 1 year he had left on his contract, now in New Orleans. What's going on for San Francisco? Things aren't going to be the same. They didn't do what we thought they would do with that defense. Now, they got a couple pieces left, but don't expect any miracles on defense next season.
Right. I'm sure those are cap casualties. Otherwise, they would have kept them. There's no reason to let either of them walk.
If anybody wants to bag now, and as you said, with all of that money now that they have because the cap has been increased, well, not enough in some cases because those two got away for one team. Wow, the 49ers have some things to think about. I don't know. I don't know if it's a story that's out here or it's just something I kind of read in the periphery. Is Deebo Samuel complaining again out in San Francisco? Is he threatening to not play or something? I don't know. I thought I saw a story like that like a couple of days ago.
So they said that was false. So I saw the report, and then like maybe within an hour or two, follow-up came out saying that was false.
Okay, that takes care of that. And another story I saw, Kirk Cousins says he's not going to apologize for his financial success. Well, it's better than your NFL success. But yo, why should he have to apologize? They're not paying him because it's their last dollar. They're paying him because there's money to pay him. They're not giving them, we give you about $200 million, $100 million because we only have $100 million. No, we give you $100 million because we got a $2-3 billion. I mean, it's not part of the salary cap, but
right.
You get what I'm talking about. I mean, Kirk Cousins, I don't think he's worth the money, but as we also mentioned last week, only one of 32 teams has to believe in you.
That's true. And the Falcons believe enough to give him $50 million this coming season and $50 million next season.
Insane.
Guaranteed.
You know what? I never disliked Kirk Cousins. I liked him all the way at Michigan State. I thought he was going to be a very good quarterback. And I think he has been a good quarterback. Not very good because he just hasn't done anything. Matter of fact, a little bit of an aside. I did read a story, or is it, you got to get your stories right these days. You don't know if it's a meme made up by some clown or is it something that's been said. But when you see some of the memes and you see what they've been said, you can probably attribute it to the clown who had said it. Well, in this case, it says Cam Newton can't believe what's going on with Kirk Cousins. I can't believe he's only won one playoff game his entire career. Kind of down to him in typical Cam Newton fashion. But God, I mean, Cam Newton's still a better quarterback than what Kirk Cousins is still a better quarterback than what Cam Newton was. Financially now, and still playing.
I can't hit on Cam on this one. I mean, because we said it too. He's coming off an injury to boot.
And that's true.
They don't know if he's 100%.
That's on the Falcons. Now, as far as Kirk Cousins and his performance, last season we spoke about it, how he was looking good numbers-wise. The team just wasn't getting the wins. They started getting the wins after he got hurt, was out for the season. I mean, come on now. I don't know. Maybe that's the grand plan of the Falcons. Let's sign him to some big money. Maybe he'll get hurt, and then the team will rally around who else is coming in, and we might win some games. Very far-fetched. But come on, never apologize for getting paid when someone in their mind thought you were worth the money they're giving you. That happens all the time.
Yeah, as I mentioned last week, John Koncak was once the highest paid NBA player.
Yeah.
The Hawks gave him, I don't even remember what it was. It was so many millions though. People were like, John Koncak? They needed a big man, I guess.
Yeah, desperately needed a big man, but unless you look at the salaries, you never know it. Even if the numbers just came across on the crawl or you saw the number, you're not even thinking about whatever particular player being that guy. And then when you see it in comparison to other players, especially the name players, like going into last season, the top paid running back, at least for last season, we're not talking about the overall structure of the contract, was a rookie, Bijan Robinson, who now plays for Atlanta, in front of even Christian McCaffrey, who was number 2. Insanity lies.
Yep. Speaking of insanity, you probably missed this while you were traveling. There's a brewing war between Charles Barkley and the idiots at ESPN, as he referred to them.
Oh God, what happened?
Because Perk and First Take and all the shows they talk about LeBron, they talk about the Warriors, and LeBron saying they're not even they have no chance. And I said before the season the Warriors had no chance, but Barkley saying it now because they're talking about, are they dangerous? Can they make a run? Barkley's saying, hell no, they can't make a run. And Kendrick Perkins clapped back saying, first of all, I have a lot of respect for him, but we talk about LeBron and Steph because LeBron James is the greatest of all time. And Steph Curry, he's top 10. Basically saying we talk about them just because of who they are, not because they really have a chance to do anything, which is confirming what Barkley's saying.
Man, so
I lost respect for ESPN a long time ago. They try to make the news.
I won't watch it, man. Come on,
they try to make the news instead of report the news now. So I think that's along the lines of what Barkley's talking about.
Yeah, Barkley and Perk, because Perk is not exactly one of my favorite people, man. This guy starts speaking, man. He starts talking and getting himself into a mess. I guess I'm still a little, I don't know. I'm not gonna say perturbed, but when he and JJ Redick went at it, last season or 2 years ago now, when JJ had to put him in his place.
They might have gotten into it last week.
What, JJ Redick again?
Yeah. I don't remember the topic, but I saw a thumbnail on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, you listen to what Perk brings to a broadcast, and you know what Redick playing as long as he's played, had more success in the NBA than Perk, and then he just kind of kills him in the conversation, and this dude's still trying to flail in the dark like he's trying to make a point, bro.
Hold on. There was a segment. Perkins and Shannon Sharp, they started arguing about who is DICK riding LeBron more. Not in those words, but Shannon Sharp was talking. You know, he always says we the GOAT. He always says like he's part of LeBron. We.
He's part of that crew, man.
We got a triple-double last night. We did this. And Perk was like, hold up. I've been on LeBron since high school All-American game. I played in that game. I knew about him all way back then. You're arguing about who's riding his jock harder?
Roman.
Longer? Are you serious?
Bro.
That's what you reduced to our first take now? Whoa.
Cheerleaders, man. And the story with Shannon Sharp and his LeBron infatuation, this dude was ready to go to war with Morant over that, right? With John Morant. But Shannon Sharp, man, he's you know what? He's an unapologetic LeBron supporter. I don't think there's anything wrong with it unless it starts screwing up your mind and your takes when you can't be reasonable anymore because you let your personal feelings.
You said supporter wrong. You said supporter wrong. Groupie.
You know, well, it's coming out like that. You wouldn't be wrong if you said it. If he's being a groupie, he's acting like one. You know, it's Big Shannon. You're not supposed to say that, man. But you said he sounds like he's on LeBron's payroll. I mean, he may be in the crew. So LeBron did start shooting guns around. He was probably one to give it to him. You know, he's a South Carolina boy, doing the John Morant deal.
I mean, I'm a big Steph Curry fan, but I admit he's not the best shooter late in games. You know, he missed that three that could have tied it against the Raptors.
Yeah.
And next day at work, somebody was talking about, I think he said that he got hit on the way up. I was like, come on, man.
Bro,
they would have shown that. They would have shown that replay. He didn't get hit on the way up. He just missed it. And I'm a Curry fan. Just saying he missed it. He missed it. Just be honest, man. Like I'll say, yes, I'm a huge Steph Curry fan, but I'm not a groupie.
I mean, yeah, you can.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to say make up shit.
Be reasonable. We don't have a lot of reasonable people out there. You know, being over here, I went to one of the malls yesterday and I was looking at the NBA jerseys. Bro, they still have Jordan jerseys out here, man. Get out of here. I mean, Jordan, we already know he's been iconic for his whole career, most of his career, if anything. But the Jordan jerseys out here, yeah, they do have the LeBron jersey. No Giannis jerseys. Killing me, man. He's closer than over here from Greece or even Nigeria than anybody over there. Come on now.
I don't know. Did you see Kobe jerseys?
No, I didn't see a Kobe jersey. Well, once I couldn't find, I saw an Allen Iverson jersey, though. I've seen LeBron.
I'm surprised there was no Kobe.
Yeah, and the only LeBron jersey, you know, I didn't go through the whole rack once I couldn't find the Giannis one, but because I was going to get one. He's a Giannis fan, my son, but I will get him one. But anyways, going through the rack, I saw the Jordan jersey. They had a Bird Celtics jersey. Bro, come on now. They don't have any Giannis out here. You know, they had the Jordan and LeBron. They have multiple LeBron jerseys, though. You know, different styles, all that kind of thing that I haven't seen before. But anyway, that's how it is out here. So I guess, you know, going with that world-renowned name, hey, you know, the dudes that should be on those shirts, on that shirt, Steph Curry was here too. So, yeah, it's the Steph Curry train. They like it out here as well. But anyways, man, so
hold on. Before we get off the NBA, I got to address Isaiah Thomas.
What does he say now?
He's still begging for an apology from Michael Jordan. He didn't like what Michael said about him in The Last Dance. He's saying he called me an asshole. Yeah. He needs to apologize to the whole world. Blah blah. Bro, give it up. You ain't getting no apology.
Come on.
But here's my issue with Isaiah Thomas, because now he's on I'm a bash Jordan and the Bulls tour. He's saying they didn't beat us until we got old. Man, come on, Isaiah. He's only like a year and a half older than Michael. It's not like he's 5 years older and was needing a wheelchair to get on the fucking court. Man, fuck out of here. But, okay, let's say that's true. Let's say that's true. Were the Celtics not old when you beat them? That's the only reason you
Exactly.
beat Bird
We
in the
saw that.
Celtics. You couldn't get past them until Bird had his back injury. He's laying on his stomach on the court and on the bench
Yep. I remember
because he's
that.
got back spasms. Come on, man. Keep that same energy for your scrub ass team. Keep that same energy.
How much
Detroit
credibility
bitch teams.
as much as he's been complaining over all these decades, now he has more of a reason to complain
I
because
mean,
the last dance came out.
let's say Dr. J came into the league as a 22-year-old in 1980. You think the Pistons ever get to the finals? He got to go through Doc and Bird? Ain't no fucking way.
Well, that's how it turns out, and he just can't give it up. And didn't he said something about some type of international apology? like
Yeah,
you should have no
that's what it
pay-per-view.
was. He said
Come on,
international
man.
because everybody saw The Last Dance, so he wants an international apology.
Come on, and,
Bro, you're gonna be 6 feet under before that apology
I'm about
comes.
to say, you think MJ's giving that up while he's still alive? Come on, he wouldn't even have a hologram doing the Tupac saying that kind of thing. Come on, it wouldn't even be like that. Man, come on. Is it really that big? Is his ego that big, or is this is his way of staying relevant? I mean, Zeke is already relevant in the NBA. He's legendary. But why be known for this more than anything you've done on the court?
I don't know, but
new people only know him for what they're hearing now. They're not looking at his old video.
Let's talk about why Jordan called him an asshole. Isaiah was the leader of that team. Mm-hmm. And Isaiah allowed all those cheap shots. Pippen getting thrown into the stands, Jordan getting thrown down on his hip. Man, they not only that, Bird getting tackled by Lambert. All the shit they did. If Isaiah didn't want it to happen, he'd be like, yo, you guys trying to hurt people. Chill that shit out. Foul hard, but nothing dirty. Man, those motherfuckers were dirty as fuck, man. And Isaiah was the ringleader. So that's why Jordan said he's an asshole. Because you know if there was something going on with the Bulls and Jordan didn't like it, Jordan would say something. Yeah. But if he didn't say something, then that means he condoned it.
And then and the other way, you know that Mike led by example. We know that Zeke led by example. So like you said, if anything did happen, chances are he could have stood up in the locker room. He was a captain. He could have stood up in the locker room and said, yo, let's kind of do it. But their identity was the bad boys. They got to live up to the reputation. And they did. And now he doesn't. He thought, I guess he must have felt it would be something that would go along during the time he was playing. He didn't think it would happen after he was finished playing, that it would still be something that people talked about. But anytime there's a chance for him to say something negative, he's always saying it, and it's always bringing it back to him. You know, and it happens all the time, man. It's like he was quiet for a little while. The Last Dance comes out, he's back on the scene.
That's 3 years ago, though. Let it go.
Yeah, and now he's going, but he won't let it go. And as long as people still give him play on this, he's going to keep it up. You know, we probably don't know him personally because he's in the media enough to make you think you ought to know him personally. But the things he's done in the NBA, you know, coaching-wise, executive-wise, player-wise, come on, man. We know so much about this guy. And a lot of it seems like he really isn't that nice guy that he tried to make himself out to be coming up through the ranks.
And I just want to say, if people want to come at me because I call them the Detroit Bitchtons, I'm going to tell you why. They said the series when they got swept, they were still taking their shots, but Pippen wasn't responding. Horace Grant wasn't responding. They're like, fuck, we can't get in their heads no more. That was the only way they could win. They couldn't beat them playing basketball straight up. They had to take cheap shots. They had to try and get in their heads. The Bulls, Horace Grant and Scottie Pippen, they were still young. That was the only way they could beat them. They couldn't play basketball straight up. So, yeah, they're the Detroit Bitches.
Well, I guess they have to live with that. And for those who want the smoke, go into the comments. Smoke will be had. We've seen that part before in a bunch of different topics we've had, man. People coming into the comments and decide to make their comment, kind of seeming like they don't really want a response because they just want to say what they say, drop the mic regardless of how lame or relevant what they're saying is. And then, don't come on the show.
Wait. I invited people to join us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yo, you want to come at me? Come at me. Let's do it. Don't come at me and with bullshit, with feelings. We talk about this all the time. Yeah. If you got, we love the feedback, positive, negative, Absolutely. Whatever. But don't come at me with feelings. Don't come at us with feelings. Come at us with facts, right? And if I ask you a question, don't ignore the question with
I wonder
7
who ever done
comments,
that.
and I'm still saying, dude, you still can't answer the question because you know why you don't answer the question. It blows your argument out of the water. So stop with the bullshit, man.
Yeah, you're always going to have that. And I think social media is a good and bad thing, even a great thing. But the bottom line is you have people who come out, you don't even know if they're trolling or not because they actually believe these things these days. And so we see them, you
I
invite
had
them
a
on.
dude tell me, schooling me would be easy. All right, come on the show. Let's see.
It's always easier said than
He's
done.
not here.
And you don't have to,
That's
it
an
doesn't
invite
matter.
to anybody. I'll be
It's
respectful. I'm not going to call you names. As long as you don't call me names, let's go.
It won't be a roast session. It will not be a roast session. You bring up your point of view that you had made, not some new point of view because you know you got pigeonholed. Stick with what you said. Stick to your guns. Say what you said either in the comments or anywhere else. And then we'll just have the true debate or conversation. It doesn't necessarily have to be a debate until it ends up as a debate. Have the conversation and see where it goes.
I think the real issue is the guys were probably in Europe because they were defending Anthony.
Oh, okay.
Joshua.
I'm not surprised.
I didn't even say he sucks. I just said beating Ngannou didn't impress me. Yeah, that makes me a casual, makes me a hater. I'm not impressed because he knocked out an MMA guy. I'm a hater. I'm a casual.
Sports.
Okay.
We know sensitive sports. When it comes down to fight sports, even more than basketball, baseball, or football, you have more sensitive fans. Whether it's MMA, boxing, you can't mention a certain fighter or you can't say anything that they perceive as negative, regardless of how truly it was meant to be said. They're going to get upset about it. Something like what you had said, it should have been as innocuous as the next thing said. But they looked at it and took exception to it. A dude who's never had a fight, who's now 0-2, like he should be as a professional without amateur boxing experience or professional boxing experience. Well, he's now 0-2. What else is there to say?
Did he lose to Fury or did he get a draw?
He lost to Fury by that split decision.
Oh, I thought it was a draw. And man, I was so disgusted with that fight. And that's another thing. Like they're saying, or not them, there's one guy saying that, telling me that Fury didn't look good against Ngannou. No shit. I said that. The whole world knows that.
There's no question about it. The dude with 10 rounds with you. You're the heavyweight, supposed to be the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. He's not supposed to be going the distance with you. But he did. And I thought experience alone, muscle memory alone, kind of like Floyd beating up on McGregor the way he had done, allowing him to go 10 rounds. That was supposed to be different because these are heavyweights. Get rid of the guy. The pride of being a boxer, and we know Tyson Fury's families are travelers, those fighting people throughout his entire multiple generations. And he comes in and allows this guy to go 10 rounds, and he knocks you down, makes things too interesting, almost a real-life Rocky 1 movie.
Right? Yeah. Fury should have been begging for a rematch if you think about it.
You know what? I don't think a rematch would have done him any good because even if he did what Anthony Joshua had done the second time around.
Pride.
It's actually pride. But you know what? The pride is probably even better just to fight somebody who's also a high-level boxing. Maybe that, like Usyk, maybe that win will take the sour taste out of everyone's mouth of what happened with the true boxer, allegedly, against someone without any experience, just a bunch of power. Luckily, AJ puts it back on track with a clean, crisp KO, the way it should have happened, delivered the way it should have been delivered, and the result being exactly what it should have been. So I can live with that.
He did what Fury should have done.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Fury should have done. Even though Fury's not known for his power, we should have saw a methodical beating that ended in about the 4th or 5th round.
Corner, if he didn't knock him out, he should have been jacked up enough where the corner's like that.
He should have been a winner now. 4 or 5 rounds, almost everything should have landed based on the defense or lack thereof that Ngannou had against Fury. He should have been hit pretty often, as accurate as we've seen Fury in the past, and some of the things he was doing. You know, he's over 270 pounds. This dude landing a shot is going to hurt anybody. It doesn't have to look like it hurts. Just be the recipient. You know it hurts. And that should have happened with Ngannou. But once again, AJ sets the stage, knocks him out, and that leads us to the pivot of the day that should close it out. The NCAA tournament finally arrived.
March Madness.
Well, March Madness is finally here. This hasn't been the basketball season that I don't know what I was expecting. I knew it wouldn't be as talented anymore. I've spoken about it multiple times. The talent across the board isn't what it once was because of entities, primarily like Overtime Elite or other options that top players may have overseas, Australia, over in Europe somewhere, and the talent just isn't overall in the college game, NCAA anymore. And now we're kind of seeing that because it's not a bad thing completely. You're not going to, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's not that bad. Not that good. But from a standpoint of teams like Duquesne getting in for like the first time in over 40 years, stories like that, you'll probably see more of those.
So, we mentioned it past shows recently. Men's college basketball, it's not what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Not that exciting. I mentioned I was trying to watch this game, and I think it was Marquette. They're number 5, and they could not shoot for nothing. I'm like, this is the number 5 team in the country. Like, they must have been like 1 for 22 from 3-point range. They lost. I stopped watching. They were down 23 or something. And then I tried watching Duke in North Carolina, and I hate Duke. And it just wasn't the same like it used to be, man. I was happy North Carolina beat them, but it just wasn't the same. And then this past weekend in the ACC tournament, my NC State Wolfpack go 5 games in 5 days. They earned their way to the dance. I'm like, yo, we going dancing, baby. So now I'm hyped for March Madness.
Yo, bro, it was like the Kimball Walker run back when he was out there with UConn. He just picked up in the Big East tournament, ran through it, man, because UConn shouldn't have been doing anything in the tournament that year. He picked it up, ran with it, got themselves a national championship, getting hot at the right time, especially having a hot player. I mean, that's what made Kimball Walker that player going into the draft, showing that resiliency, that toughness, even though the Big East isn't what it used to be. Man, what he did for UConn that year was insane. And he got all props for it and deserved it. It ended in the championship for them. But yeah, man, if you can win 5 games in 5 days, you've earned it, man. Not had it handed to you.
My homie, he's a North Carolina fan, and he texted me when the game was over. They're up like 10 with 50 seconds left or whatever. He was like, "Man, that's a crazy run your boys did. They beat my boys, blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, 5 games, 5 days. That is crazy.
That is tough, bro." That's tough.
And it's been 37 years since they won the ACC tournament. So even if they're not going to win the national title, I know that, but at least they're in there. Hopefully they win the first round matchup, maybe get to Sweet 16. They're on the roll right now. So hopefully they keep that momentum going, lead to bigger and better things in the future. But, man, 37 years, that's a long fucking time.
That's a long time, man. That's what's happening. I think that what we've been saying is kind of coming to fruition when a lot of these powerhouse teams aren't allowed to be powerhouses anymore because they don't load up like the old Calipari Kentucky Wildcats team that he used to have, which is loaded up with not even just first-round picks, lottery picks, plural, on one freaking college basketball team. And you wonder why they won a national championship. We don't have that anymore. So you're going to have more of these teams that are probably 16 seeds having upsets, probably not every year, but now it seems like it's coming closer and closer between 15s and 2, 16s and 1. It's looking a little bit more deliberate now that, hey, these teams actually can play a little bit. I mean, and then we can look at some of these teams like Princeton, for instance, 24-4 this past season. They don't even go to the tournament because they lose the Ivy League tournament. Are you kidding? They beat everybody. Well, not when they needed to. They're 24-4. They're going to the NIT. I believe they're playing UNLV. Unbelievable, man. It's insane how it goes. So a team like that's not even getting in. But Purdue, who just couldn't decide whether they wanted to be number 1 or not almost most of the season, still gets the number 1 seed.
I believe they deserved it based off of everything else. You look at the number 2s. I mean, Purdue wasn't even like the 4th number 1. They were the 3rd, so it wasn't even close. I don't think, other than UConn, the other 3 number ones probably could be interchangeable.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, I think that this is one of those years where you just can't go chalk in the first round because it's not going to work. I mean, it doesn't work all the time anyway, most of the time. But I think going into this tournament here, UConn is the only guarantee you have to probably get out of the first round. Because I mean, not being completely realistic, all 4 teams should make it out of the first round. But the way things have been going over the past couple of years, there should be some scary moments, and there probably will be some scary moments. But I think you're going to start seeing a lot more upsets. If we hadn't seen enough already over the past couple of years, we're going to see a lot more upsets this time around. And UConn, the way things are set up for them, they should repeat, which is insane with all the players they lost from last year's team. And they just come back with Hurley coaching again, showing up again. And come on, they've won a lot of championships, UConn. You think about their women's team, you look at their men's team, they've won recently. But, man, when you just look at the litany of championships they have, man, they're up there with Duke. They're up there, not necessarily Kentucky of late, but they're up there. And so it's not a surprise now with Hurley probably bouncing to the NBA sometime soon.
UConn definitely seems to be the prohibitive favorite, which is crazy when you talk about March Madness being wide open and anything can happen. So I don't know if you've completed any brackets while you're traveling or whatever.
Not quite yet. I just saw them yesterday. Well, I don't know what to say. Yesterday here going to translate over there the same way.
So far, I've done two brackets, one with ESPN, one with CBS Sports. I came out with 2 different winners.
Really?
Yeah. For one, I came out with Carolina cutting the nets, and the other I came out with Tennessee cutting the nets. I refuse to go with chalk with UConn.
Yeah, well, if you make it just the one that you just get, not trying to be that guy that just goes, oh, he should win, that's why we should go. If you want to be one of those that just picks the teams that you feel legitimately will win, it probably flushes out UConn again, based on what they've done all season. How about your other boy, Nebraska, bro, in the tournament with a nice little record to boot?
Oh, yeah. Well, I knew they were making the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
I love Nebraska football.
Making this tournament.
I love Nebraska football. It's nice to see the basketball team do well, but I don't live and die with the basketball team.
I hear you.
Unless they beat Indiana by 30. Man, that was beautiful.
I kind of sort of did. They beat Indiana. Did they beat them twice this year?
Yeah, they beat them earlier this season.
Yeah.
They beat Purdue. Oh. They still on the court against Purdue.
Yeah, right?
Especially where I'm growing up, there's a lot of IU fans up here, so it's nice to see the losers get their ass whipped.
and Nebraska, I mean, come on now. I mean, you talk about football.
Volleyball school.
Volleyball. Now it is because their football team hasn't done well, but it looks like there's some things on the horizon with the additions they've made, the coaching change they've made, got last season, which kind of worked out this past year. I think it looked good for them in the future. But as far as their basketball team, hey, I think that Husker fans overall should be excited about it, because typically in the state of Nebraska, you're talking about Creighton, not Nebraska basketball.
Yeah. So that's true. Creighton's a 3 seed.
Yeah, Creighton's nasty almost every year. You can almost guarantee great basketball coming from Creighton. I mean, they've been doing it for years now. And now, well, the Big West Conference, which typically has just 3 teams, and they're like the triumvirate, like for the past couple of decades, I think now, it was always San Francisco, Gonzaga, and St. Mary. Now, I mean, I think Loyola tried to work their way into it. But this is, I think, the first time in a while that Gonzaga did not win the Big West. But Gonzaga's still in the tournament. They're not that sweetheart team anymore that they were for quite some time. Before it was always the school that John Stockton went to. What school was that again? Gonzaga. Now everybody knows Gonzaga. The same way they knew Butler when Butler was trying to play that Cinderella role for a few years when Brad Stevens was there. And now, wow, look what we have.
Yeah, it's crazy because they were coming in usually as a dark horse, making runs to the final, to the Elite Eight, getting to the Final Four here. And then they ascended to being a top dog, and they still couldn't get the job done. And now they're coming in as a number 5 seed. Be crazy if they make another Final Four run as a 5 seed, like outperforming their seed, but underperforming their number 1 and 2 seeds.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to expect. Now, I'll be back for another part of the tournament, and I'll be back over here. At least that time is on Friday. Man, the jet lag's going to probably have me watching Saturday games. That jet lag was serious over here, making over here. But yeah, man, once I put a bracket together, I think I can start figuring this thing out as we go, because there isn't a team outside of UConn and even Purdue, not a bad team, but I just think that, man, the top 4 teams, including UConn, are just solid compared to teams we've had in the past. I'm not sold on North Carolina. You know what I mean? Because of last year's collapse. Well, there may be another St. Pete out there. You know, St. Pete came in a season in which they weren't even the best team of the MAC.
St. Pete's in the tournament this year too.
Who?
St. Peter's. They're in the tournament.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So they're in the tournament this year. I didn't know that part, but they only have one slot for the MAAC. It was Iona before when Rick Pitino was there, a completely different team. Now everybody left, no Rick Pitino, and now they can't even get into the tournament. St. Peter's there. They don't have Shanine Holloway, who's at Seton Hall now. So, hey, maybe they got a little buzz going in there again. I don't know. The Peacocks, you can still remember that name from years ago. But I do know Doug Eddard, the viral mustache from back in that run they had, plays for Bryant now. The dude can't seem to get off the bench. But this is his last season, so I guess we'll be doing other things outside of playing basketball. But this is the NCAA tournament we have now. I can't even think of a team, the right team to pick to say this might be an upset and be valid. You know what I mean? You just pick a team that really has a chance to upset, and it's a significant upset. I just can't even pick a team like that right now.
Yeah, it's crazy because there have been years in the past where teams have gotten hot, won their conference tournament, like, ooh, they'd probably be a good pick. Come into the tournament as like a 5 or 6 seed and get bounced in the first round. Like, yo, what happened to all that momentum? That's what I'm afraid happens to North Carolina State. Hopefully not. But then you also have times where a top team loses in the conference tournament, and like, okay, well that loss is probably good for them because now they'll be focused. They come out and they get bounced early. So you never know, man. That's why it's called March Madness.
You know what? It reminds me a bit of the deal with when Princeton, when they played against UCLA, and they had that upset. When Princeton had the upset against UCLA years ago, but way back. But anyway, I think one of the O'Bannon brothers was still there. I think there was a kid named Henderson, was it Toby Henderson, that was playing that? O'Bannon and O'Bannon brothers. But the other
Bailey, Toby Bailey.
Why did you say Henderson? Bailey,
I don't know.
Because
they had another guy
in that NBA player, man.
They had another guy on that team named Henderson. I can't remember his first name, but I want to say he was a big man.
I was also wondering about Phil Henderson for the football team. But yeah, man, but Princeton had that team, the back door that they used that year. I think they were number 5 seed. They were beating UCLA. I don't think we have that this year, even though the door is open to have that this year because, as we mentioned, the talent across the board just isn't the same. And it also comes down to styles of play. Yeah, the transfer portal plays a role, but it comes down to the style of play where you do have these fifth-year seniors on one of these obscure teams playing against these all-stars that don't have the cohesion. And it's like the U.S. in overseas basketball. Things just don't work out sometimes. You know, that team with all the continuity ends up being a team that's just star-studded. Not anytime recently, but yeah, I can see how it can happen. But yeah, I haven't seen, once I put a bracket together or at least look at a bracket and know who's in there, it'll be something you can come up with. I mean, based on today, based on what's out there today, looking at one of these teams and trying to pick that dark horse winner and have a legitimate dark horse chance. Because I don't think any 16s and 15s are going to do what they do. I think it's just going to be around, 8, 9 that might be able to push it from there.
So what do you consider a dark horse? A 5 seed and lower, 4 seed and lower?
Let me see. A dark horse is probably, I think around 7, 8 seed. That's why I'm saying kind of 8, 9. That's a dark horse because those are teams that could have those ridiculous records. They just have to play in a real conference that doesn't get enough respect. They could be like a 27-3 team, but you're playing in like the MAC, the MMAC, like Iona did, or now St. Peter's. You can have that kind of a team. I remember in women's basketball years ago, I think the Marist Red Foxes, they were like 27-1 or 27-0, and they just got buzzsawed. I like, see, coming from that conference and then going over there and playing one of these top teams, you just get wrecked. But in the men's basketball, that's what I'm looking at, a team that's probably an 8 or 9 seed that can probably do that, coming from a conference in which they absolutely, utterly dominated, in which you think one size could have fit all. You dominate everybody here, you can dominate some teams in another conference, but probably not the top teams. Those teams coming at the right time, on the right buzz, the right continuity, they have the best shot.
That's true, but I don't know. I just want to mention Auburn. I think Auburn can make a lot of noise.
Auburn, you know what? I saw Auburn on it. I was surprised And they did. Did they play the Gators? They didn't boat race the Gators, and it's always a good thing when the Gators are losing.
No, the Gators won the SEC.
The Gators won the SEC.
Yeah,
I thought they lost the SEC.
I could have sworn they won.
I thought it was Auburn who won the SEC. Well, you know what? I have.
Oh, because people are complaining Auburn got screwed on their seeding. They got a 4 seed.
Well, probably because they did win the SEC and didn't get a number 1 or number 2. I don't know. Wouldn't they be a number 2?
They got number 4.
Oh, number 4. Whoa, that's not usually a SEC champion spot. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to look right quick. I could have sworn Florida won. I didn't watch it.
I know Florida had gotten beaten. So and anytime they get beaten, whether football, basketball, it's a good day for me. But let's see how that happens. Let me see if I can check it out. I was a little bit legitimately upset with
Oh, you're right. Yeah, Auburn won 86-67. What the heck am I tripping on?
So I guess they assume that, well, they won the SEC, they should be a much higher seed, which I would believe as well.
Yeah, they only got a 4 seed. That's why I thought they lost. Like I said, I didn't watch the game.
Unless all year long, because I haven't been able to keep up with all the college basketball, but unless all year long they didn't play so well and just happened to put the pedal to the metal in the SEC championship game, kind of like NC State. You know, what seed is NC State?
They got a low seed. I think they're 10.
Exactly. So it's one of those things where they probably didn't play well all year, but they got hot at the right time, won a major conference like the ACC, and still get a 10. They should be the ones clowning like, bro, I know we don't belong here, but we got hot at the right time. They did. And we've seen how it does matter to get hot at the right time.
Yeah. The guy from the committee said five schools stole birth this year. I don't agree with that term because if you win 5 games in 5 days, you earn that shit.
Every bit of it, bro.
For lack of a better team, 5 teams snuck into the tournament by winning their conference tournaments.
Yeah, they did an AAU tournament then, play every damn day, probably play twice a day if they could. You know, I mean, they ran up and down the court, and they earned it, no doubt about that. And we'll know who the first slot of winners are. Not even to talk about the playing game, but when it really matters on Thursday and Friday, then moving forward from there. I'll be back in the United States, terrorists permitting, and on Friday.
Whoa.
I know, right? But hey, brother, this is the world we live in. I'm just spewing the goods. That's it. You know,
so I feel odd, man, because you're in the future. I don't know how I'm communicating with you.
Well, I should make some bets, right? Give me some of these bets that we got over here, man. I stopped in Turkey. And in Istanbul for about 4 hours. And I know somewhat about the world, man. So I know you don't go to Burger King asking for a bacon double cheeseburger and Burger King in Turkey. Those Muslims will chase you out of there. Yeah, but it's a lot different place. Everything doesn't have the sugar that you have in the U.S. Their milkshakes are just milk. I mean, kind of sort of. Yeah, there's a lot different everything over there. I mean, I
believe it, man. They put so much crap in our food over here.
Yeah. Oh, man, so much, man. It's completely different. And here in Thailand in particular, even more so in terms of everything being natural. I mean, it's so natural, man. I got bored. Like, bro, where the Belgian waffles at, bro? They don't have them. I mean, somebody might do it, but we're going to see the roti chick hopefully on Wednesday. With all of my luck, she was not there yesterday. We asked
you didn't get bananas and eggs?
No bananas and eggs, at least not yesterday.
No, I'm asking you, when you go, are you going to get bananas?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was going to video it just for you, man. Like, yo, this is how she gets down. Yeah, and the dude yesterday was telling us, because, they have, like, security in, like, every corner. Get used to it. That's probably why there's not a lot going on. But, yeah, he was like, yeah, she's supposed to be here today, but the police came by. They had to make some border on the street, and it happened to be in her spot, so she couldn't stand it. I was like, oh, you serious? They put, like, a white line. That's it. Oh, you got to miss a day of work. We got a white line to put down here. Seriously.
That's crazy.
Go somewhere else. But everybody got their designated spots or wherever they are. But this traffic is absolutely insane. And if I ever saw another scooter again, it wouldn't be too soon. This is like a big biker club country, man. That's what it is. Everyone on a scooter.
We
got Thailand's Angels.
Well, I guess I won't see you till next Monday, man. Travel safe. Enjoy yourself.
All right, bro. So until then, the Sports Bag Bros is signing off international and locally, and we'll be back on Monday. Until next time,
Apologize.
I may be back on Monday.
Apologize.
Bias may be back on what, Wednesday or Thursday? I know you're not watching.
I'm trying to do Wednesday. I just need a partner, man.
All right, so yeah, we'll get that figured out hopefully before Wednesday comes. I think likely. And if you want to do something by yourself for 20 minutes, just do that. Just give like a preview of the games that are hot, because you at least have a playing game under your belt by then, right? They're starting on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see.
Yeah, so
We'll see.
but anyway, I'm Trav, he's Bias, and we are signing off. Sports Back Bros coming back at you on Monday as a tandem, that is. Until then, deuces.
Peace.